Hello and welcome to High Point Music's Gear Reviews. I'm Lewis, and in today's episode I'm going to show you one of my favourite delay pedals, the Boss DD7 Digital Delay. So the Boss DD7 Digital Delay is a multi-delay. It has several modes that are available for us to choose from, and each of those modes represents some of the other functions available in other Boss pedals, but what it does is it gives this particular pedal a versatility that some of their other products don't have. It has a great analog sound, an amazing set of connections for you to route your signal in mono, stereo, or into a wet-dry mix, as well as the extra ability of running an expression pedal to control the parameters, which gives us a really functional delay that is reasonably simple for its size. So the connections that we can use, we've got a stereo set of inputs, a stereo set of outputs. This allows us to run either a fully stereo signal where we run two signals in, a left-right in and a left-right out for a stereo or panning like delay. We can also connect a mono input signal and get both a wet and a dry output from the effect, or a mono in and the panning and stereo set output. So you've got a few options there to get either a wet-dry rig or a stereo sound from it just by changing those connections. You can also connect the output B and input B together to allow you to route only a wet signal through it, which is really handy if you're doing any modulation between amps or any really quick slapback delay in a stereo setup, as well as the ability to double the delay times by routing your input and output cables correctly. Lastly, we've got an expression pedal or a tap tempo switch connection. So the tap tempo switch can be used to obviously set the tempo of the pedal, which is an alternative way of activating the tap tempo to holding the pedal down and getting to that mode. And the expression pedal mode allows you to connect, of course, an expression pedal and in real time control the parameters of the pedal with your foot, much like you would find a wah-wah pedal or pitch shifter could do in that sort of style. The other big advantage of using an expression pedal with this particular delay pedal is that you can control multiple parameters at once. So if you wanted to turn the amount of volume up as you turn the amount of repeats down to control the clarity of your signal, that's totally doable with this. And of course you could do one or all three of those settings: the volume, the delay time, and the feedback, any combination of those at once. So that's a pretty cool little feature for a compact pedal. A lot of bigger pedals have those expression pedal controls, but the DD7 also has that ability to give you some real expression to your playing. So I'm going to show you through the modes of the pedal and a few of my favorite settings in each of those modes. I'll start off with my clean tone, which is my Fender Stratocaster. Running into our two notes La Clean. And I have the DD7 in the effects loop. So we're going send out of our effects loop into the input A of the DD7, output A back to the return of the effects loop, and then of course off to our recording software. So I'm going to show you the first setting, which is the reverse delay setting. This is what it sounds like. Turn that time up a little bit. With those slower delay times, you can hear that the reverse repeat gets a lot more development to it. We can take that clean tone out, so we only get our reverse signal by increasing the volume to maximum, which on this pedal just means you have no dry. Turn that speed up a little bit so that the reverse delay comes through a bit quicker. And you're almost getting a tremolo-like modulation, which is just an artifact of the way that that reverse is grabbing a sustained note and trying to repeat it. You can do some lead work with that, but you need to be a little bit careful about the phrases you choose to play. Definitely lends itself to longer phrases. If we turn that delay time up, we get a bit more room to kind of play in a call and response kind of style with the pedal. So you get some pretty ambient and kind of weirder sounds with it. Of course, as you dial that clean tone back in, which on this pedal unity level is at 3 o'clock, you're able to get the attack of the clean signal with that nice lush ambient sound from the reverse. So it's not quite what anybody would think of as a reverse sound specifically, because it does work a little bit differently to at least how I perceived reverse delay when I first started playing, but it adds some great interesting texture to your tone. So the next mode I will show you is the analog mode. And the analog mode is set to emulate the sounds of the classic DM2, DM3 analog delays. We have done a review on the Wisercraft analog delay as well. I thought it was interesting to note that the maximum delay time in analog mode of this pedal is the same as the custom mode on the Wisercraft Boss pedal. So that's a pretty cool little comparison. And of course they both have an expression pedal, but the DD7 is able to control any of the parameters by expression as opposed to only the rate. So this is what the analog mode sounds like. We're listening for the decay of the repeats to happen a lot more quickly than what you would in a traditional digital mode. Slow that right down. So I can really hear the way that that repeated sound decays, especially in comparison to the standard digital modes, which is a really nice organic sound to the delay. That's a really good way to get those delay repeats out of the way of the rest of your guitar playing. If you're playing with a bit of dirt, the way the tonality of that repeat diminishes over the top of your dry signal means that your dry signal stays really bold and kind of in the forefront of the playing. So it's one of my favorite modes on the DD7. The next mode I'm going to show you is the modulation mode. So the modulation mode adds a modulation to the repeat of the delay signal, which is that chorus-like or phaser-like sound you would hear, but it's only on the affected signal. This is what it sounds like. You can hear that warble there on the repeated sound blending back in over the top of our dry sound. It adds a really nice layer to those delays. It's an alternative kind of color or texture to what you would get out of the reverse or the analog modes, so it's still quite a great option to have on a multi-mode effect like the DD7. The DD7 has a hold mode, which is effectively a 40-second looper. I'm sure you've seen the video on Ryan using a looper pedal before, so I'm going to gloss over that one for now and go straight to the first of our delay ranges, which is a 50 millisecond delay. I want to show you this 50 millisecond delay because you can create some phaser or flanger-like tones from this that give you a really nice alternative tone to your guitar that isn't necessarily a delayed or echoed signal. We're going to start like this. That's our delay range, our feedback and our delay range turned right down. And as you turn that up a little bit, you hear that phasery kind of sweep or that modulation sweep coming in. Which I think sounds pretty good with a little bit of vibrato. So nice non-echo kind of sound, and of course as you turn that up it becomes more and more obvious. Into some other modulation sounds. So the next mode I'll show you, I'm going to go straight to the 3200 millisecond mode to give some more of that rhythmic-like delay playing you might hear. I am going to use a few repeats. So the last delay mode I'm going to show you, I've jumped up to the 3200 millisecond delay to get some slower repeat sounds. You can find an 800 millisecond delay sound in our Guns N' Roses Welcome to the Jungle tone zone, so that's a cool one to check out. I've chosen this one because like U2 and Pink Floyd, some of those rhythmic delays are really useful for spicing up a guitar riff or some arpeggios. It kind of sounds like this. So that's a quick overview of the sounds we can get from the Boss DD7. I like all of the modes on the pedal. The modulation mode I don't use a lot. I definitely prefer to make my own modulation sounds in that lower 50 millisecond range that I showed you earlier. I think you get a really nice alternative tone to your guitar sound with that. I like using the reverse mode as a fake reverb. It's a really interesting texture that doesn't quite follow your rhythmic playing exactly. I think that that change of sound is really interesting to listen to. The analog mode is enjoyable. I like the decay of its repeats, and the decay sound of the analog mode with the connections and expression modes of this pedal make it really, really versatile for something that is only the size of a Boss compact. Of course, the hold mode is very, very handy. You can use it to loop with, so you can make a 40-second loop that you can practice with. I use a lot of that 40-second mode to record a guitar riff to then play through another pedal. If I'm picking settings on another pedal, I will record a loop and then I can concentrate fully on the other pedal sounds. So that's a really handy practice tool and setting your gear up tool in addition to an actual delay sound. And with the external tap tempo, it makes for a pretty full-featured digital delay. And of course, lastly, and what should almost be the most important point, is that it sounds good. I compared this to a few other delay pedals that I've got, and I love the sounds you can get from each of the modes. I don't think it compromises in any of them. It's easy enough to understand once you work out the ranges of the delay times, which you'll be able to find in the manual or in the blog, and it makes for a pretty useful tool to have on your pedal board. People that are going to be able to use this are ranging probably in just about every musical style. You can get slapback delays, the analog delays, the reverse sounds are great for some ambient sort of tones. A looper function will be really great for an acoustic guitarist perhaps, who might be playing with themselves and want to record some rhythm and lead parts separately, as well as the ability to set that expression pedal even just as simply as controlling the volume of the delay, so you could really nicely fade it in and out of the dry tone. So that's the Boss DD7 digital delay. If you're interested in picking up one of these and making it a staple on your pedal board, you can follow the link below. Don't forget to check out our social media, give us a like, a share, a subscribe. We appreciate the feedback, and it's a really great way to stay up to date with what's going on and get in touch with us if you've got any questions or comments. Don't forget to check out the blog. The link is below for that. You can find more information on this pedal and the other reviews that we've done, as well as accompaniments to the lessons and tutorials. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.